Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome back. Welcome to my name is Joe Josh. I go by iChart Daily. Today is June 2nd, 2026. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you my entire thought process and what I think is happening in Bitcoin. This is going to be a long video. I'm going to be giving you everything that I can and hopefully train and teach. That's the goal, right? So this is not financial advice, but I have been doing technical analysis for a long time, bro. Almost 2 decades. We're on 17, 18 years now. Was originally taught by my dad. He was an options broker, and I basically took that, the internet, and now AI, and I'm basically perfecting the swing trading process. This is a swing trade. We're not going to be looking at the 1 minute and the 5 minute. The time frames that we're going to be focusing on is 12-hour daily, 2, 3, 4, 5 weekly, 2-week, 3-week, monthly. If you can master understanding certain visuals, you will understand how to understand momentum. As long as you understand momentum, you understand if you should long or short. It's very simple. What I do is I eliminate the news. I literally don't justify any of my positions with a news article, which is why I posted the other day about Michael Saylor selling, because I know so many people that have me in their circle and don't use me, and they'll justify their buys when Michael Saylor buys in hopes that he would never sell, and now he's selling, whatever his excuse is. The point I'm trying to say is in this video, bruh, no news. Visuals, confirmations, this happens if this happens. Think of it like chess, right? And it's a perfect example because in chess, you need to prepare for how many moves ahead, which is what we're trying to do, but you could only really focus on the current move, right? You need to wait for the move to happen in order to react, plain and simple. So with that being said, I always start with the longer time frame. I always look at a monthly, a 3-week, a 2-week, and a weekly time frame to see market structure, what the MACD is doing, what the RSI is doing, what the stochastic RSI is doing. I'm looking to see where the moving averages are, and there's a lot. It's a lot to go over in just like a 15-20 minute video. It's a lot to put into AI and try and scale this, which is what I'm trying to do. But let's go into it, right? So first I'm looking at the top area here. The candle structures they were above the moving averages and now they broke below. That's bearish, okay? This right here is a visual that you're looking for confirmation of long-term momentum. Candles below, bearish. Candles above, bullish. Once you go below, what you want to see is a confirmation that this is a bearish sentiment, right? We're turning bearish. This isn't just a fake out to the downside below the moving averages and we're just going to pop back up, go back to 122 and go higher. We went down, we came back up, and we saw rejection at the moving averages. That's a visual in my eyes showing me that this is going to be a continuation to the downside. Downside where? Anytime I'm looking for major liquidity levels, I go instantly to the monthly chart. Then I go to the 3-week chart, I'll go to the 2-month chart. You need to have a multi-time frame attitude to everything because certain charts show things better. Once again, you could see here on the 2-month chart, candles came down, went to the 11 and 21, is now being stuck between the 11 and 21. And you could see here visually, the 11-day moving average is about to break below the 21. That's a death cross. That's another visual to show you that poo-poo's hitting the fan and momentum is turning bearish, okay? We're still just looking at candle formations and moving averages. We haven't spoken about RSI, MACD, stochastic, and all the other nonsense, okay? 4-month chart. 4-month chart, visually, we're at the 11-day moving average. The next support is going to be your next moving average, which gives me a visual of 54,278. Next, what I'm going to do is line up the moving average line with candle formation patterns to the left to see if it lines up with any confluence, right? So I'm going to see here the top of the market was 57,000. We came down. We came back up and used this 57, 58 as support again. I'm going to assume that if this breaks down, and breaks below the 65,000 support right here, that your next level is going to be this one. Sorry. Okay. The next one is going to be here at 53,000. Now, what I'm going to do next, once I start figuring out where major liquidity levels are, I'm going to start looking at indicators to see when the next breakdown is going to happen, right? Because you can see here the death cross happened back in January 2026, and that's when we went from 108 down to 63. Curious to see if the 4-month. So you can see the 4-month, I'm going to look here to the right, over here. We have 2 months and 30 days left for the 4-month candle to print. So I'm curious to see if the next 2 months are going to be bloody, since this is coming down, right? Death crosses are bad, golden crosses are good, but you can't look at the 4-month and chart with it. I'm just looking for clarity and what's going on, right? We're still looking at the monthly, by the way. Another visual that I wanted to see is we're still on a death cross and we're coming down. We went below. Now I'm looking at the RSI, this one here, visually. Bullish, you want to see your blue line on the upside of the moving average, the RSI. Once it breaks below, that's a visual that you're bearish, right? Now, once again, I always tell you that you need to see where the indicators are, bullish or bearish, or is it also still, what hasn't happened here, but this is bullish, but below the 50, this is bearish, right? Where is it? If we were to break down, you have to go to a small time frame, right? If you were to break down during the section B, right? So there's different sections that I'm looking at to see if it's going to be a continuation to the upside, continuation to the downside. Where right now on the monthly, on the RSI, we came below, we came back up, and we saw rejection below the 50 right here. Not good. Once we started turning down, I was like, oh no, here we go. Because all you have to do is look left, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I double click, it was, if you just look, right? I mean, down, 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 rejection from the purple and down, rejection from the purple and down, right? Rejection from the purple and down. Now, one thing I do want to let you know, not financial advice, but I have been in this game for a long time, since over here, pre the Coinbase going up, and I'm shot down. Bitfinex, I can't, like, BitConnect, sorry, I'm a bird over. BitConnect days, you know, allowing your iPhone to have the Chinese Binance app, like you know, Binance coin was $3-4 a coin. The only reason why you were buying it was because you were getting 90% of the fees off. Like I'm old, dude. I've been around and I've seen this, been in this game. You know, use my experience for your knowledge, right? 17 years and 10, 11 years of crypto. It's like, bro, I've seen this chart so many times. So we're here, right? The visuals. We're looking at visuals. Death cross below the 50 line is a bearish. That's when the line, my indicator turns pink, and that's when you're in sell mode. Once it turns to white and you're above the 50 line on the RSI, you're in buying mode, and it's good to go. If you're dollar cost averaging, this is it, bro, right? We're looking to see if we're going to come back down to major liquidity levels. Obviously, major support is right here, boom, right at the 65,000, and we're probably going to retest that. The most bullet now, chess, right? What I'm looking for, since we have sorry, we're going down the RSI and the monthly, and the stochastic RSI is below the 20 line, which, you know, 3 strikes, visuals. Visual strike number 1, visual strike number 2, getting rejected by the 50. Visual strike number 3, your stochastic RSI is also in bearish, zero momentum territory, right? You want it to be breaking above the 50, heading towards the 80, and then staying above, staying above, staying above, right? So those were bearish visuals that helped me understand that we're going back down, even over here, right? Another visual that you're looking for, first mover, when I told you the stochastic RSI was breaking up, right? The most positive visual is when it breaks here. You want to set an alert. Here is when you open up your long. Here is when you know it's a continuation, right? So open up long, continuation. You set alerts at where the visuals happen to identify when you want to potentially close your long position and understand that poo-poo's hitting the fan. Right now, all I did was put X's when the stochastic RSI broke below. And if we go to the chart, you could see here that's when the top formed, the momentum was over, and you knew right here, that poo-poo was hitting the fan and the run was over. We go here, we go up. Visually, something happened that was bearish right here. This again was another dead cat bounce, double top, right? Double top. And you knew this is when you should have started taking profit because the stochastic RSI visually changed. Right here we went down. Right here is when you should take profit or close this long position from 65,000. And this is the weekly time frame. And you could use this all the way down to, I would say, the daily 2-day time frame, right? It's the same visuals. Death cross, RSI below the moving average, right here, broke below the 50, came back up, used it as resistance. Indicators turned pink. We came below the indicators to 75, went up to 77,000. Stochastic RSI broke here on this day, May 9th, right here. You could have set an alert when it breaks below the 80, when it breaks below the 50, when the RSI breaks below the 50, when the MACD golden crosses or death crosses, and you could help yourself trade based off of just mathematical equations and alerts. And what I do is I swing trade based off of those confirmations. If someone says that Bitcoin was bullish, but then I saw this, I was waiting, chess, waiting for this. You see this, you see this, you see this, chess, you're waiting for this. And then in my head, I'm saying, well, bearish, 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 open up short from 76,000. Where do we go to? I go to my weekly and I go to my monthly time frame to see major liquidity levels of where I wanted to see the whales buying. The whales were buying here, so I want to see if the whales buy here again. So if my short was open from here down to here, I might think or start hedging out of the bet once we start seeing major support at these levels again. Another thing that I have is the market bottom indicator, which is where you see the candles turning white and candles turning clear. Candles turn clear when more than usual volume is coming into the market. Candles turn white when more than usual volume is coming out of the market. Once again, it's another visual to help you understand when potentially there's a top forming and potentially pricing once again where a bottom could be forming. It also could show you that yes, there's buying pressure at this level, that there's buying pressure at this level. There's also buying pressure at this level. There was buying pressure at this level. So visually, I'm curious to see if we come back down to 65,000 and form bullish divergence, which is another thing that you need to know about to understand tops, bottoms, and continuations. We need to go into it. We're 13 minutes in and we need to go into it. So we went over the indicators, we went over candles above, candles below, we went over the wheres, we went over the visuals, we went over the settings, not the settings, the alerts, and how to identify momentum and where momentum could go to. Now you want to identify, is it a bottom or is this going to be a continuation to the downside? During bullish momentum, everything happens in waves. It's just, are the waves going up? Or are the waves going down? And during these times and these times, prices are doing one thing while indicators are doing another. That is called divergence. Regular divergence, the candles and the indicators are doing the same thing. So the MACD waves are getting higher and higher, meaning the tops and the bottoms, while the waves of the prices are getting higher and lower. Same thing with the RSI. Stochastic doesn't move like that necessarily. I'm looking at the MACD and the RSI and the candles, formations and waves on longer time frames. Yes, it does play out on the hourly and 4-hour and 8-hour and 12-hour, but sometimes you get fake outs. I'm looking for this on a 2-day, 3-day, 4-day, and 5-day, particularly for my swings, weekly for like a major confirmation. Once again, when I'm doing this, these are trailing indicators. Price needs to happen in order for the lines to move on the screen below. Now, that is true, but if you could catch it during the initial swing, meaning here, yes, it already happened, but guess what? We got in at 78, 77. The play right now is still in play. Meanwhile, the weekly hasn't even happened yet. So 13, what do you want to get in here, right? 76, 10%. If you're using any leverage right now, 2, 3, 4x, which is what I recommend people using if you're new to this game, 2 to 4x, because then your liquidation prices are going to be way up here, giving you a lot of flexibility and cushion, God forbid the play goes the other way, right? So right now, that short would have been open, and what I'm doing is I'm looking for the next confirmations to happen. So this one would have happened here, this one would have happened here, this one would have happened here at 78.6. Then I go to the 4-day. I was texting all my friends. I'm like, yep, the 4-day is about to death cross. The 4-day RSI is about to break the 50. The 4-day stochastic RSI is about to break the 80. We're adding more to the position. Guess what? The 5-day is about to death cross. Where? Below the zero line, section B. You never want to see a death cross in section B because that means these previous lows of 65, 63, and 59,000 are going to be retested, right? It is what it is. You never want to see the RSI below the 50 because once again, when you put on the moving averages, that means you're going to go up to the moving averages and come back down. You want to see the RSI above the 50 because that means you're using the visual of that white line as support, meaning if it comes back down, it's white, we're adding. If it comes back down to the white, we're adding. If it comes back down to the white, we're adding. We're selling, taking profit. Again, you know what I'm saying? Once you see this, this is short. You could have opened up a short here and then you say, all right, dead cat bounce is happening. If we come back up, you know, the position would have been up, let's just say 50, 60%. Now it's down to 20, 30%. You see rejection. Guess what? Instead of closing the position, the line stayed pink. You see rejection, death cross below, RSI below, stochastic breaks below. Your short position is still open here. And now you're in the money again, even more down here. So once again, visuals, right? We broke up, market top indicator, changing the candles to white, death cross below on the 5-day. I mean, this was a simple short. And then once again, I'm going back to the weekly and the 2-week to see where major support is. Major support's going to be right here at the 65,420. Right click on the line, add alert, notifying you that we are breaking lower. Then if someone says if we break there, where do we go? Well, once again, I'm going to the monthly. I'm going to zoom down. I'm going to see that major support is at 59,157. Right click, set alert. You see how there's candle formations here? This is the multi-time time frame justification. Let me have 54,151. If there's nothing else, but you see wicks, I'm going to go one more time frame down. Maybe you see 49,50,000s like that wick down. Looking left, you could see here visually, I'm looking for a confirmation. There's a wick up to 59, wick down to, 49. And that's how I'd probably, if this short was open, hypothetically, I go back to the 3-day, right, and I'm looking for the breaks, right? So short, I'd probably be seeing if I'm out 60, 70% here for breaks here. Again, taking 10% here, and again, taking 10% here. So, and that's really the video on how identify everything, literally everything. We could go to Ethereum and it's the same thing, right? Remove everything. I'm going to go to the monthly time frame, double click. And I'm curious to see just where there's major buying pressure in the past, right? Major buying pressure in the past at 17.95 and 15.41. Not just going to use one time frame. We're going to continuously go to the 3-week, to the 2-week, and you can see here again confirming this 15.41. But there is another one right here, right? There is that 19.10 that we need to break, and then I'm going to set alert, and set alert. And just a little piece of advice, not financial advice. Don't put them exactly at the bottom and set your alerts. You want these things to hit, right? So you want it to like set it here on the 2-week, right? You don't want it to hit the bottom of the wicks, dude. You need your buy orders to fill. So like put it at 1600. And another piece of advice, these are ranges, bro. It's a range. Yes, I'm very good, but like calling 1936 or 1925 or 1980, same thing to someone like me, right? Because I'm looking to just catch this beautiful hit here and this beautiful hit here. And I'm sorry, I totally forgot to go over divergence. Divergence, let's go back to Bitcoin. So divergence, let's delete everything. What I'm looking for is what? Us to go back down to this 65,000 because that's where major liquidity is going to be, right? Now, do we stop there and we form a high, the same low on the price, but a higher low on the MACD wave and potentially the RSI wave? That's what we're looking for. And we're looking for that on the shorter time frames to form first. So you can see here, okay, here's a clear example. If you could identify it. So MACD death cross here, bottom of swing here. MACD golden cross here, bullish, bearish death cross. Bullish, right? Didn't death cross, went up to here. Right here you can see the MACD made the same low, but the swings made a way lower low. That's hidden bullish. Those are the identifications that you need to see that a swing is potentially going the other way, right? This went flat while the MACD wave made a higher low, bullish. Identification of a bullish pattern going up, right? On longer time frames, divergence is nothing to play with. What I mean by that, this was 2021. Bitcoin went from whatever, 3,000 to 68,000. Visually, let me turn this off. Visually, we saw this, we saw this, we saw this. The issue is this and this highs are the same, while this and this and this and this are way, way lower, showing me that this was not the same as this. This had hidden bearish divergence. The reason why I'm saying that is during, and once again I'm old, I remember what the news told me because I was there. During this, people said it was this. And what do I mean by that? Well, this was a higher high to this. 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 This was bullish up until this. This. Identifying this while this happens on this time frame helps you identify bull and bear markets. That's what I'm looking for with this. And does it happen? Bitcoin doesn't go bullish until that happens. Bitcoin won't turn bullish but will remain flat until that happens. Example. This went down, but MACD didn't death cross. Visual that this was then going to do this. You understand? Bullish structure, while this is doing nothing, is a bottom. Bearish structure on this and this, while this is doing this, so flat, right? Down, down, while flat, shows you it's the bear market. Flat and up helps you understand the bottom. Until that happens, Bitcoin could go lower and form a lower low. And what do I mean by that? The waves. Wave 1, wave 2. Does it do another this, this, this? See here. Now, you might say, well, how do you know? Go back to the monthly and look at the characteristics of the chart. Every chart's different. This was 87%. This was 83%. This was 78%. Lower each time. This is 52%. Now, I'm not the best person at math, but 87, 83, 78, 52, I get a vibe. 61 at 49,000 makes a little bit more sense. So it's just another confluence. And with that being said, we're at 27 minutes. I think I've went over a lot. I'm going to continue making videos. I'm not going anywhere. I just think that the confirmations happened and they're about to happen on the weekly. And the last time it went bullish was in March. It was time to make this video because we're about to death cross. Enjoy.